Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight podcast from londontheatre.co.uk with me, Will Longman. For this episode, my guest is Adam Gillen. Known to many for his on-screen role in the ITV sitcom Benidorm, his recent stage roles include his brilliant portrayal of Mozart in the National Theatre's production of Amadeus and his Olivier Award-nominated role in Tracy Letts' play Killer Joe. We met in rehearsals for his latest project, Radio, which currently runs at the Arcola Theatre until the 13th of July, but is also available to listen to through Audible whenever takes your fancy. Over the course of the hour, we talked about Adam's fascination with sound in theatre, the lasting impact his teachers have had on him, taking his character's character home with him night after night, show after show, and his thought process behind the artistic decision to make Mozart dab. But first, he told me a little bit more about the play he's in right now.
It's called Radio. It's about a young man that returns from Vietnam in the 70s, and it's sort of a potted history of his family's life up to his point, sort of generations of history of right through from the first settlers in America all the way through to his family, and how they've somehow found themselves at the center of things in terms of historical events by some chance. And it's sort of it's a man who's he's sort of relaying all the incredible events that he seems to have encountered throughout his life, and it's beautiful. It's beautifully written.
And so, how does Spaceman come into it? Because the poster for the poster image, it says quite a striking image of you in a.
It's very space heavy. It's he's got aspirations to become an astronaut, and he ends up in Vietnam because he has this desire to chase the American dream. He has this unquenchable sort of desire the American dream is imbued in him, all this optimism, and so he thinks he can achieve anything, and that takes him to Vietnam, and I think he hopes to become an astronaut but never quite achieves it, and I think I don't really know what I'm saying. I'm not being very articulate. It's sort of a cautionary tale about where dreams can take you if they remain unchecked. If you have endless, boundless optimism without anybody telling you can't do something, you're going to end up somewhere you don't want to be. I think that's quite impressed with that, actually.
Yeah, I'm not being quite articulate. That was pretty articulate.
That was all right, yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to talk around the themes of the play a little bit, because you don't want to completely tell everybody exactly what it's about, and if you want somebody to come and be surprised at a piece of theatre. If I listened to this and knew exactly what was going to happen in a play, I wouldn't go and see it. Okay. So I think I'm trying to talk around it a bit.
Because I know a lot of people that will, not watch Game of Thrones, but read all the spoilers, and so they just know what's going on. And I think, what's the point? Yeah,
what's the point? The whole point is to be taken on a journey and not know where you're going. And definitely with this, that is what happens. It kind of begins in you meet quite a sad man, a sort of a broken man, and he somehow relives almost 100 years of history of his own family, and sort of guides you by the hand through it, and their family history along the way. They some incredible things happen to that family, and he's affected by that deeply. And we end the play, and he has to take on that history himself, and he has to own that history and make his own history. I think that's the story. Trying to shed your family's history and take the responsibility to make your own memories, make your own history. yeah, does that make any sense at all?
It does make sense. It seems like this has been a really good session for you.
Yeah. Maybe this was coming at an important time. Maybe I should have thought about what the play's about before we had this interview.
I'm probably going to blow what you just said all out the water about trying to avoid what the play's about. Because I read that it's based on Al Smith's, the playwright's father.
Yes.
Who worked as a young...
He was a physicist
on Apollo 11.
On the Apollo missions, yeah. So it's very personal to him. Again, a man with an incredible history. He's not somebody you'd think would family would be part of the space race. I don't know why. So that he's got a lot of personal ties to the subject matter, and I wasn't. I mean, I've always been interested in space and science from an outsider's point of view, but I've never been somebody that has delved into the details of what that means. I've never been I was never fantastic at science at school. It was never something that, obviously it's a fascinating subject, but it's never something that I encountered. So through Al, I've been learning a lot about the magic of what science can achieve, and the sheer the brilliance of the human mind, and what we, at the same time, imagination should be checked, but also reaching just beyond where you think you could can achieve incredible things, like going to the moon and leaving the planet, and that to me is astounding. And to even the initial thought that could be something that we as the human race could achieve has landed on me throughout this experience, and that's been wonderful.
You said that you weren't very good at science at school.
No.
Were you a kid that wanted to be an astronaut, or were you always a kid that wanted to be an actor?
I think I was a kid that wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
But I was also allergic to a lot of animals. I was quite quite an ill child.
Okay.
So that wasn't really going to work out for me.
But you just liked animals?
From the off. I just had an affinity with animals. I don't know. I didn't think I wanted to be an actor until a history teacher decided that I needed an outlet of a creative sort. Either, I don't know, I can't remember if I was either hyperactive or insular. And I think probably I bounced between the two during the day. And she said that I needed an outlet, and so I ended up going to a Saturday morning stage school, and it really sort of brought me to life in a way that I hadn't been up to that point. And I thought, I like this. I like controlling people's attention or controlling people's perception of me, and that became sort of addictive. And I thought, well, I better do this because I'm allergic to horses. And that's the way it went.
So you liked animals from afar? Yeah,
absolutely.
So from that Saturday morning stage school, how did you carry on? How did you take it forward?
Well, I had a wonderful teacher called Alicia Bardsley in Stockport at the AB Centre of Performing Arts, and we do cabarets and skits and pantomimes and stuff like that, and she was very encouraging. And a friend of mine, through work with her, decided to audition for drama schools and went to RADA, and I thought, I want to do that as well. So I sort of followed in his footsteps, and moved to London at 18, which was pretty scary, and here we are. Yeah, I'm really good at interviews. It's one of my strengths.
No, it's good. It's good. So, I mean, yeah, it must have been pretty scary at 18, living on your own.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
I did not like living on my own. I went back every Friday night for the first term, almost the full first term. I spent all my student loan getting trains on 7 o'clock on a Friday night. We finish at 6. I'd get on a train at 7. I'd be home for 10. And then I'd get the 6 o'clock train on the Monday morning to come back almost every weekend, because I was just I was frightened of the social life. I was frightened of was very timid. We were in I first moved to Kentish Town, and it was all a bit overwhelming, and I don't think I could really cope. I was very upset a lot of the time, but I eventually got into the swing of it and made some wonderful friends, and that made me feel more at home. But it was a difficult transition, because 18 is really young, and especially to move to the big city and, you know, get used to that pace and that intensity and learn all the learning and meeting all the people. I was just quite a shy kid, I think, and I think I'll always be at some level quite a shy human being that's compensating. but I also had some wonderful teachers at RADA who brought me out of myself. Mm-hmm. Teachers are amazing. You know, teachers in how teachers that do it right, who just know what a person needs and can tailor their attention into different people in a class of kids are just incredible. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for teachers. If I wasn't an actor, I think now I'd be a teacher.
Are there any teachers in your education that stick out?
Definitely. Well, I had a teacher, Mr. McDermott, in year 5, and I was an odd kid, I think. I was just a strange boy, and not everybody got it or got me, and that was quite lonely a lot of the time. But there was a man called Mr. McDermott who, I don't know, he just seemed to understand what I was all about. I can't remember in what way, but he's always remained in my head as a very sort of paternal figure. And then I had a teacher, John Beskitzer, at drama school who seemed to show belief in me, and so I had this desire to please him, and all the lessons he's taught I always go back to if I ever feel like I'm not being very good or I'm not getting something in the material. I always go back to what he said in that room, you know, at the age of 18, 19, 20. Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility to be a teacher, because kids go off into their lives, and I guess that particular teacher might not realise the impact that something that they've said that will have, and that will last for 20, 30 years. You'll come back to that sentence and that moment that they said that thing and it changed everything. And so I've always, you know, if ever I've ever been in a position where I've done a bit of teaching or a bit of coaching, which I haven't done a lot of that, but I always take on the responsibility of that role, because I know the impact that it's had on me. Those people, you know, those little gems of wisdom that you don't really take on. You don't really take on the weight of yourself because you don't realise the impact it might have. Yeah.
It's similar to acting in that way, because if done right, theatre is about those moments that will have that impact on the audience, right? That they'll remember and keep coming back to those lines.
Yeah.
So in that way, in a play like Radio, that's a one-man play, that's quite a lot of responsibility on you then.
It's massive, yeah. I've never done this before.
Have you not?
I wrote a one-man play once upon a time, and but that never really came to fruition. I performed it, but it didn't really come to fruition. But this is, I guess, the trick or the aim is to try and make friends, try and make people feel comfortable listening to you and creating the illusion of a conversation, and making it seem like it's a two-way street when you're just kind of talking at people for an hour and a half, or hopefully shorter if I get on with it. And I think the illusion to create is that feeling of the storyteller is your mate, and everything that he says is relatable. And so it's a really fine line to tread, talking to someone. But the difference between talking to someone and talking at someone is the what I'm trying to achieve. But it's a very odd experience, because you got nobody to. You got yourself to bounce off, or kick into the next section, or you. I've always been somebody that's been quite reactive in plays and performances. A lot of my choices have been made through what other people have done, and so I found myself responding in a certain way, and you just don't have that when it's just you talking to yourself day in, day out for 4 weeks. So it might be nice to have other people to listen. I'm sure the director and stage management are sick of the sound of my voice. I know I am.
Well, the sound of your voice, one of the good things about this play is that people will be able to listen to it afterwards.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, we are recording it for Audible, for a broadcast or a download, I guess. And this play is there's a lot of this play is about sound and about the creation of the sort of homemade creation of a soundscape, and that's what Audible has given us the opportunity to present that in a very full stereo way. I've always been fascinated by the use of sound in theatre ever since seeing Simon McBurney at the Barbican with his play. What was his play called again? It was incredible. I went to see it, and everyone had a headset, and it was it made it all very, very immediate and very personal.
The encounter,
yeah, that was fantastic. So hopefully we'll create a similar effect in people's earphones and earpods or whatever, and it'll feel like a conversation, like you're listening to a very long voicemail, and it'll have that personal feeling, like a friend of yours is telling you a story, and that's what that delicacy is what's so accessible in Al's play, because it feels like a family member is spinning a yarn. It's handing over to you the sort of the gift of history as a present, all wrapped up in a bow. It's potted history, and it's a gem of a play. I think it's really gorgeous. Yeah, really beautifully written. So such detail in a way that it never patronizes its audience. It's always this is amazing, and I think it's amazing. Are you with me? That's the kind of gesture, I think, and that's what we hope to get to. Yeah.
I don't know why you were worried about not being articulate.
Oh, good. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just.
Do you like interviews?
I don't really feel strongly if I like them or don't like them. I mean, I think it's just odd. It's just odd. I always think, why are you talking to me? Why are you bothered about what I've got to say? I always feel like that. I always feel like very it's kind of embarrassed. But that's just because the focus is on me, and I'm not always comfortable with it. I find it more easy if I'm playing a character and to have people listen to me or talk to me, because then you're hiding behind, hopefully not too thick of a veneer, but hopefully a paper thin lace of somebody else, so you don't have. It's not quite as exposing. But when it's just you. But this is nice.
Good. That reminds me of, I don't know if you've heard the ridiculous notion about Lorraine Kelly.
Oh, right, no. What?
So to avoid tax, for some reason, she's claimed that she plays a character when she is presenting her TV show.
Oh my God, is that true?
She plays the character Lorraine Kelly when she presents Lorraine.
That is amazing. Yeah. I didn't know she...
You have to pretend to be the actor Adam
She does
Gillen.
feel like that, actually. She does feel like it's a presented... Nobody's that Scottish. Maybe she is. But you do have to present a version of yourself. Or be comfortable with... Or come in and out of it, I guess. Yeah.
So you mentioned about sound in theatre. you were part of one of the encounter for you. Amadeus felt like that to me.
Oh, right, okay.
Very different from radio.
Yes.
You went from having one man on the stage in this.
Yep.
You were part of, you had a Symphonia on the stage with that. What was that like for you?
Well, I realised the emotional effect sound can have and I realised the way that emotion is accessed through classical, in inverted commas, music, that I'd never really listened to orchestral music to any great degree, and to be in amongst these people playing these instruments with such skill and experiencing that, sitting right by an oboe, you know, watching the strings being drawn across a cello, and feeling the sort of I just experienced music in a way that I never have before, and it was a complete and utter privilege, and it made me think about what people must have thought, you know, in mid 18th century when they heard this music for the first time. How that must have felt. That must have been just explosions of fireworks in your chest, you know, like just like, I think I would have wailed at the first C or something, you know. I really it was an incredible experience to be part of that, and to be underscored by Mozart while you're speaking, or while something is happening in a scene. I'll definitely never have that experience ever again, and I'll always remember that lesson of the emotional impact of music, and how it can change your outlook on life. It was a hell of an adventure, and I'll always miss it. It's very special.
And I think it's a prime example of what you were saying earlier about being reactive, in that you and Lucian, you must have bounced off each other so much.
Yeah, we did. We felt truly like we became those people, and that to have that partnership with another actor, like I felt like I hope he felt like that, but I felt like with Lucian to go at it every night with it was like a fight, you know, like a tactical war for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, again if I didn't get on with it. But it was really, really thrilling to be a part of, and thrilling to be in that partnership with him, and to spar every night for almost a year in total. We felt like we became we became the music that these people produced. He became sort of bitter and heavy, and sort of and I became sort of a fucking, excuse me, a sort of a whirligig, and it was enormously enjoyable. It was a real, true adventure, and we built it from the ground up with Michael Longhurst, the director. We built it, and the orchestra and the South Bank Symphonia. We built it like brick by brick. We made something that felt not quite, but some nights equal to the power of the music, and that was something else. That really was.
Yeah. To say that you missed it, you were lucky enough that you brought it back.
Yeah,
I saw it the second time round.
Right.
And did you change much between the two? Because there was a moment. There was a moment where you dabbed.
I dabbed.
And I was like, I remember vividly thinking, I don't think you would have done that a year and a half ago.
No, and that was probably pushing the envelope to entertain myself, if anybody else. But I thought Mozart was his music at the time. People hadn't heard anything like it. It was modern. It was new. It was the equivalent of, I don't know, techno in the 80s. It was a new sound, and I thought. And a modern sound, and I thought that if Mozart was here now, he'd be dabbing. So I gave it a dab.
And so you brought that back last year, and then there was an overlap between Killer Joe rehearsal starting.
Yes.
Which was the last time we spoke. So that was that the last piece of theatre you did?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And we, I was doing that in the day. I was doing Killer Joe in the day. So Texas Trailer Park, and then off to Vienna at night. So that was quite a contrast.
Is it a much darker place though, Killer Joe?
Yeah, much darker place. Really murky and twisted and sad, desperately sad. People that were desperately sad, just going nowhere, stuck in a hole. Hopeless. Playing hopeless people really takes its toll on you. I found myself being very down. I sometimes on the way to work I'd be a bit like, oh God, this is quite it's quite a thing to enter into, killing your own mum. Something you take on, and it sits in your bones. And so it was that the last night of Killer Joe was to shed that and let go of all that was not to say it wasn't, again, enormously exciting. It was a thrilling play and a real absurd place to go to that you never think you'll go to, and as an actor you never know what stories are coming your way or what people are coming your way. But that was it, again. It was something that I love going to the other, doing something else, going somewhere else, meeting other characters and being other people that I'm not and are very far away from me. But yeah, when that last night, it was nice to shed.
Do you often kind of take on the character then? Like you said, when you were doing Amadeus,
yeah,
like a feeling.
I was kind of I was much more bouncy when I was doing that. Yeah, I guess. Not in a sort of pretentious way. You do take on, if every night you go through these feelings of loss or feelings of the exhilaration of creation, something is going to stick. I think something you'll carry something with you through your day. It's just, I think it's natural. It's like any practice. You repeat something enough times. It gets into your bones, it gets into your muscles. You play. That's how people learn to play tennis. They do it over and over and over and over and over again until they're doing it without even thinking about it. And I think it's the same with emotions. Mm-hmm. It's just repetition, and you can't always shed it immediately.
So how are you feeling on the way in and out of radio rehearsals at the moment?
Yeah, I'm quite in a. It's a day-to-day thing at the moment, but at the moment, like yesterday, I felt like we strung things together and much better than we have done up to. I say we, I did. I remembered the things that I was told and tried to thread things together much more fluidly than I have, and so I'm feeling all right. And I slept well last night, so that always helps. Mm-hmm. God, how well these rehearsals go depends so much on how I've slept. I think it's quite like, it's remarkable the responsibility that you have when it's just you talking. Mm-hmm. And I'm just coming to terms with it's not all on me. There's wonderful tech support and brilliant direction from Josh, but taking my part of the bargain on is something that I'm just coming to terms with, and being okay with that. Yeah.
So Killer Joe ended.
Yes.
You shed that skin.
Yes. 9-10
months later, Olivier Award nomination.
Yeah, that was a massive shock.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't really. You never really know, because it was hard. I felt like it was hard work, Killer Joe. It was a hard work of a play, just because of what you go through with that story and with that atmosphere that was created, and it's a challenging play. Not everybody liked it. It was quite polarizing, which I enjoyed. I like people having strong reactions to things. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't really know I didn't allow myself to take on too much of the reaction, because it's not your job to walk out there and think you're a success, or to walk out there and think you're a failure. Every night, new people are coming to see it, so it's a new experience, and you're hoping people will be taken on that roller coaster ride. But it was like stepping into a washing machine every night. It was such a turbulent play. So I didn't really, and I know, like I said, I know it polarized a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So, and it wasn't the favorite thing on stage at that period. So, but to hear that people, up in the important spots thought I was good was really special. Really special. I couldn't believe it. I didn't feel worthy of it at all. I felt so touched that I'd been recognised in any way. I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, it was a real beautiful surprise. It was great. I loved it. Yeah.
A quick interval reminder now to let you know that you can see Adam in the play Radio at the Arcola Theatre until the 13th of July, or you can listen to the play, which is available on Audible. As ever, we kicked off the second part of the podcast with some quick-fire questions. Every guest who comes onto the podcast has to make their way through 10 quick-fire questions as quickly as they can. Some have made it sound easy. Adam, not so much. Ready?
Ready.
Favourite ever role?
Amadeus, Mozart.
First show you saw?
Uncle Vanya.
Best holiday destination?
In Spain.
Most used app on your phone?
Twitter.
Last play you saw?
Oh, I can't remember. Oh no. When did I see a play? Oh God. Oh no. What did I see? Oh no, I don't remember. God, oh no. Was it? I have absolutely no idea what I've seen recently.
Listener, I wish you could see the face I can see. Utter dread.
Oh my God. What did I see? I paid for tickets to see. Oh, Sweet Charity. Oh.
Acting idol.
Tom Courtenay.
Dressing room essential.
Peppermint tea.
Interval drink.
Red wine.
Favourite theatre in London.
Young Vic.
Role you've always wanted to play.
Richard III.
Okay, 1 minute 13.
That's terrible.
That's not bad, given you had a mini breakdown.
Oh no, I can't remember what I'd seen. It was Sweet Charity, yeah. Oh God.
I guess we better talk about it.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, it was really dark and trippy.
Yeah.
I loved the film, and Anne-Marie Duff I've always been an enormous fan of, and seeing her, yeah, I'd never taken on the tragedy of that woman's life, that character's life, and the way it ended so bleakly was the right kind of unsatisfying, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It wasn't clean. It wasn't all neatly done up with a nice bow, and the choreography, is it Fosse? Mm-hmm. I love the angular sort of muscular nature, and the weirdness of his choreography is always. I don't think I've ever seen any true Fosse stuff on stage, so that was really cool, and I was very close to the front, so it was all there.
Yeah, it's hard not to be in the Donmar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I like seeing musicals in the Donmar. I saw. I've only seen two, but the one I saw before that was Parade with Bertie Carvel, and that was just jaw-droppingly incredible. Just like it's like being hit in the face in a good way, and he was just brilliant.
Have you done much musical work?
No. I mean, I can sing, sort of.
Good.
You want me to do a bit?
Yeah, go on.
I'm not going to do a bit. I don't. Yeah, I can sing to a degree, but I've never. And I've sang in plays before, but I've never done what you might call a musical. But I'd love to do that one. I'd love to do Parade one day, because that part is just so intense. Yeah, and it must be. And I love the feeling of singing. You do feel elated whenever I've sung or I've done an audition that I obviously haven't got, or I've had a singing lesson, and you come out of it and you just feel lighter than air. It's like we as human beings need to make a lot of noise, and then we feel like we're empty now. We've exhausted that. We've really worked that muscle out. But I do feel, you get a real high after singing. Well, I do anyway. Am I doing it right? I don't know if I'm doing it right. Maybe I'm not doing it right. Yeah.
Can't do it wrong though as well. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't do it wrong.
Exactly.
So a musical at the Young Vic is the dream, right? The next one.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. That would be nice. I love that theatre. I love being there. I did a play there a long time ago called The Good Person of Set Swan, a Brecht play. And it was a really exciting time, and just being around the building felt very buzzy at that time. I don't know what it's like now. Obviously, I'm sure it's very exciting now. The new artistic director's taken over, but it felt like you were really, felt really, you felt really supported as an actor.
Mm-hmm. And then the problem with me doing that bit is that I'm so concentrated on the next question.
Oh yeah.
I don't always hear your answer.
Oh right, that's fine.
Your acting idol was
Tom Courtenay.
Yeah.
I saw Uncle Vanya when I was 16, I think. So I hadn't really been to the theatre very much before that. I mean, I might have seen Cats. I think I saw Cats, and I sat on the aisle and was absolutely terrified. And I don't really remember much about it. All I remember is just flashing eyes right on my shoulder. I don't think I was concentrating for the rest of the show, because I just kept expecting someone to jump out on me. So that's quite traumatic. But Tom Courtenay and Uncle Vanya was just a masterclass at. He's this hyper sort of realistic, fully rounded, created human being on stage in front of me. I'll never forget that. Really, it's always his work is something I always aspire to. I've always he's another teacher, I guess. Mm-hmm. Whenever I've seen him and I've gone, oh, he did it like that, or he achieved something in that silence that was so layered and rich. That is something I will try and achieve one day. I get a similar one day a character that I'm playing is in a similar situation, that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, loneliness of the long distance runner, Billy Liar, and most recently the film he did with Charlotte Rampling was just this wealth of emotion, like that he's holding back the tide of is and somebody that is so behind those eyes, so much is happening, and you hardly see anything, but it's there, and that's something that it's like magic.
How do you do that? How do you practice it? How do you learn that as an actor?
I don't know. I think you've just got to be comfortable enough to and take on the experiences and the history that the play or the film or the TV show has given you, and just let it sink into your bones. I guess I imagine, and that's what I hope to achieve. Whenever you take something on, you want to literally take it on. You want it to be in your bones and in your skin and in your muscles and in your flesh, and sort of let it come out. Yeah,
that seems to be the takeaway from what we've been talking about the last 40 odd minutes. Is that you really do take the character on, it leaves the theatre with you. Yeah, and come in like him.
Yeah, it is. It's it's playful and creative. It's the artistry of some is when it's done right, theatre or the creative arts, when it's done right, you've got to mean it and own it and try and communicate that. It's all about trying to tell a story in the most real way possible.
Thanks again to Adam for chatting to me there. You can see him in Radio at the Arcola Theatre in London until the 13th of July. Until next time, you can keep up to date on all things theatre at londontheatre.co.uk. Bye-bye. The music in this episode is Loopster by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 3.0.